Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The New Way contains adult content, including our contractual obligation to discuss every facet of the movie adaptation of Cats, the musical. That's right. If you are looking for a Cats-free episode, think again, furball. Listener discretion is advised.
It's impossible. Lois could never have Superman's baby. Do you think her fallopian tubes could handle his sperm? I guarantee he blows a load like a shotgun right through her back. What about her womb? Do you think it's strong enough to carry his child? He's an alien, for Christ's sake. His Kryptonian biological makeup is enhanced by Earth's yellow sun. If Lois gets a tan, the kid could kick right through her stomach. The only way he could bang regular chicks is with a kryptonite condom. That would kill him.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello, and welcome to the New Way podcast, where we break down pop culture so you don't have to. I am your host, Matt Schenk, joined in studio by Benjamin the Scott Wilson.
Great Scott.
Great Scott Wilson. And on the old school can-to-can telephones, Mr. Nick Santacroce, all the way in from LA.
My internet is no longer reliable. I'm calling in like a caveman. Like a fucking caveman.
I've never heard someone sound more, my internet is no longer reliable.
It's very upsetting, man.
Some fucking first world problems here.
Oh no, our podcast doesn't have proper clear audio from across the US states.
You've spoiled me.
I can just
Spoiled me,
barely hear the beautiful drops that you've arranged to put on this podcast.
Listen. I'm gonna
Just wait until I get into my critique of The Irishman. You'll hear me loud and fucking clear.
Oh, we're looking forward to that. We got some hot takes coming up. Yes, we've been on a little another little hiatus with the Thanksgiving holidays. We're now into the month of December. We're going to get a couple more podcasts out for you guys over the next few weeks. We're hoping to do a Christmas themed podcast next week, which we actually really, oddly enough, we did it a little bit last year with Ben's birthday celebration, which happened during a Christmas party I was throwing.
Well, the thing was, you asked a lot of people like what their favorite holiday movies were and stuff like that, but we never really got into it from our perspective. And I think we should also, and I'm going to introduce this also next Saturday because we've been discussing it via text. We are going to play a fun holiday game that I am going to bring, and that these guys are going to have to go into blind. So get your.
Is this like the time that you said come to the party in an ugly sweater, and then you put your keys in a fishbowl?
Yeah.
Like that game?
No, it's the one with
you mean the best party you ever went to?
No, it
was pretty good.
It's the soggy cracker game, right?
Yeah.
Or the limp biscuit if you're Fred Durst.
There it is.
Oh no,
man! I love how just both of you guys, as soon as you heard the words, you're like, and you couldn't even hold back the disgust of the wet biscuit.
Don't look it up.
Game. Don't look it up.
Don't look it up. If you don't know, then just don't look it up. If you believe that Limp Bizkit was just a strangely funny rando name, don't look it up.
Listen, I played varsity baseball for the Carver Center for Arts and Technology Wildcats. I am familiar with the soggy biscuit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Nick was just home for Thanksgiving with all those people, and they still can't look one another in the eye. It's a true story.
I'll have you know, I won that game. I mean, there are no real.
There are no winners. There's no winners, my friend.
Well, there might. Well, okay, never mind.
Yeah. So we're gonna we have a special podcast planned for right before New Year's. It'll be after the end of the Mandalorian series and after the latest Star Wars movie. So we're gonna do an entire podcast all about Star Wars. Since we realized we didn't get to. I have another call. I'm going to decline that other call coming through. I never get calls during the podcast, but of course tonight when it's problematic, it has to happen.
You know what, Matt?
You should.
Ben and I will just.
You should have put him in and then three-way this.
It was like a spam call, so that would have just.
That would have been amazing.
Kind of fun. Like, yes, my social security number. So yeah, we're gonna do a whole episode on the Star Wars, which should be really, really fun. I think that'll be kind of our New Year's celebration.
We'll do that after you're back from Tejas.
After I come back from the Texas, and Nick will be
either in
Baltimore.
You're in Baltimore through the New Year, Nick?
No, I'm back in LA on New Year's Eve.
Okay, well, you'll probably still be in Baltimore when we record that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Baltimore 7 hours ago.
That's crazy.
I know.
Crazy.
Speaking of which,
Acclimated.
How was everyone's Thanksgivings?
It was great. It was really great. We had the annual Beer Olympics.
Yes.
And in a runaway, the Shoe Fly Pie from Lancaster Brewing won the gold.
Nice.
Your fam definitely likes the tasty treats beers.
That's true. However, last year, everyone was surprised with the best in show sour cucumber.
Ah.
Yeah.
It was a real dark horse. I only threw that in there as like, what do you call it? The
Limp Biscuit.
Well, the Limp Biscuit. I was gonna say.
What do you call it? In an experiment.
The experiment.
You're
it's whatever you call like an experiment. The whatever, or like in a line of questioning. In a line of questioning, it's the one question that's like a complete outlier.
Right.
Yeah.
That is every word but the one I'm trying to think
Yes.
of. But you know what I'm talking
I
about.
could
exactly
listen
what
to
you're
you
talking
two
about.
try to find this word all podcasts. I'm not going to
Well,
lie.
Matt, you're not helping a
I
whole
know,
lot.
I know. I'm enjoying the show. I don't know what the word is either.
The content.
It's gonna hit me halfway. It's gonna hit me halfway through the podcast.
It's not a placebo. It's
no,
not
I thought
a...
No, it's like that though.
Yeah, it's. I already thought the word placebo, and that's not correct.
It's the gazebo. No? Okay. Anyway.
Yes.
And how was your Thanksgiving, Ben?
Oh, it was a lot of traveling, but it was fun. I was in Tennessee and Georgia, and went to a football game with our own Ryan Alexander Hamilton, which was a lot of fun.
Where you eked out a victory over the Longhorns?
Yes, not the Longhorns, the Aggies.
I mean the Aggies.
What the
Sorry.
fuck is
Sorry.
wrong
Oh
with
my
you?
God Almighty!
I'm just
Calm
joking.
down.
I'm just kidding. Ryan would take a lot more offense to that than I do.
I know.
But anyways, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think that they had a really good time in Athens. Hopefully, they had a fun time in Athens, and even though they didn't like the game,
Yeah.
but it was cool.
The
Control. There you go. Control question.
control.
Anyways,
What do you call the cucumber beer? All right.
yeah, but we saw all parts of the family. We went to the stuffing, the Manchester Orchestra Thanksgiving Eve show, which we've done twice now, and that's a lot of fun. And yeah, it was cool. We saw what was the band that opened up for him? That I told you. I was like, oh yeah, we saw them live. Like Nick, you saw them on my like Insta stories or whatever.
I did.
What are they called?
The Control.
They're from Los Angeles, and they sound like I always compared them. I was just like, if there was a movie that had to have a generic indie band, like in the movie that's not a real band, but they're like, oh yeah, just come up with a random indie sounding song, and that's going to be on the background at this club, and that's what this band is playing. That's what this band sounds like.
Group Love.
Group Love.
Group Love.
So yeah, that was
Nice.
that was Group Love, but they were actually kind of fun, and the lead girl singer is totally Nick's type.
Big eyebrows.
Big eyebrows.
Into
all you need.
into politics. Likes Ninja Turtles.
I have no idea. She was a manic pixie dream girl that jumped around.
There you go. He does
And
like when
ladies
girls
out
jump
there,
around.
You do not have to be into politics. That is not a deal breaker. Eyebrows and Ninja Turtles, however.
Okay, those are understood. I gotta keep track of this.
But no, it was good. It was good. Spent a lot of time sitting outside by a fire when I was up on the back of the mountain. So
That is nice. Yeah, we here in the Floridas, it just dropped this week to a staggering 50 degrees.
oh my god.
and people lost their fucking minds like they always do. And you hear the fire trucks because people are breaking out the electric blankets and they don't know how to use them. And also it's 52 degrees outside. That's it.
Oh, God.
It's terrible and amazing, but it is nice to actually go outside and find it to be an enjoyable experience to be out in the weather.
I'm actually wearing shorts and sandals like usual, but I'm wearing a long sleeve T-shirt, which
he
weird
looks amazing.
thing.
I gotta be honest.
I love this look.
And you know what, Matt? We don't have to get into it because we have a long podcast here. But I saw 2 movies over the break. Once with my folks. Well, 3, I guess, if you count The Irishman. I'm not counting that as a film. I did see Knives Out in the theater.
Well, don't say anything.
Well-
We're going to see it tonight.
That's fine. It's super fun. I really, really enjoyed it, so I'm glad you're seeing it. And then on the plane, I saw yesterday, which is pretty much what I expected, but really, really fun, really well done. I mean, anyone who's a Beatles fan is going to enjoy it.
That's what my brother said. Did you finally get to see it, Ben, or did you not?
No,
see
I
it?
still haven't seen it. I think I have it in like a queue to watch, but
It's worthwhile.
I've got it to
It's
watch
worthwhile.
out with the fan. Well, and it's a good transition anyway, Nick, and I'll get a little bit into my Thanksgiving, but just so you guys out there know,
just ironically though, it took me a second. I was doing mental gymnastics. You were like, yesterday on a plane, I watched. You said yesterday I watched it on a plane. I was just like, but you were just on a plane. You weren't on a plane yesterday.
But who's on first base?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so the good thing is that our topic tonight is there is no topic. We realize we all had kind of a short window for the podcast. Short is also relative. We used to do hour-long podcasts until we got kind of got full of ourselves. But tonight we are doing what we're calling Geek Speak #1, and we're going to do these from time to time where instead of us actually getting into a topic for the episode, we're going to just kind of cover a multitude of things that are on our minds, things we've been watching in trailers and previews and movies and all that kind of good stuff, but no real theme to speak of. And hopefully this is something you guys kind of enjoy out there listening to us kind of jaw about stuff for just a kind of a quick hour podcast. Just to fill you all in on my Thanksgiving. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Your interest in my Thanksgiving.
Let's get to the topic. I'd rather talk about
You
nothing.
were in Texas, weren't you?
I was not. I was right here.
For some reason I thought you were in Texas.
No,
You're in Texas for the holidays.
I will be
the
in Texas
Christmas.
in December for Christmas, but no, I stayed here, and then my brother and his girlfriend and her one daughter Samantha flew in on Friday. He picked them up, and then all three of them stayed with me on Friday and Saturday. So we had our traditional Thanksgiving, which consisted of Chinese hot pot. Actually, it was the Ryan Alexander date. Chinese hot pot followed by cool spot ice cream.
Nice.
And we had a really, and with Brian and Adriana as well. It was quite the mixture of people at the table. I also will say that Brian Willis ordered the hot girl, and at one point, Miriam became concerned that his head was going to pop off his body because it had turned so red. He literally looked like a pimple ready to just explode.
This is how you eat it.
And she literally just kept going like, is your friend all right? And I'm like, no, that's just Brian. He's fine.
He's fine.
But like you could see it. It was almost like the cartoons when they eat the spicy foods and it like their head's like a thermometer where you see the temperature rising.
Don't they ask you how hot they want the hot girl?
No, he only got it. He and my brother both got it medium, but it just he
Just can't handle it?
No, he was just so into the soup. They just kept like
at
the end, just like going into the like just downing the soup,
yeah.
and it definitely got to him a little bit. The ice cream was helped afterwards, but we had a good time. And then we went to world famous Lion Country Safari on Saturday.
Fun.
And I returned to the scene of the crime where I was attacked by birds, which I don't. Nick, though, do you know that story?
Oh, I know that story very well.
I do, and when I saw it on the Instagram, I couldn't believe you braved it again.
Oh, I didn't go in that fucking place with the birds. I'm not stupid.
He didn't
I wasn't
go, he
going
didn't
in
go
it.
in the aviary.
No, they went into the.
Matt's never been within. He has a restraining order against birds.
No, I will tell you this.
He's not allowed within 50 feet of an aviary.
I will tell you how much I love Nick and Nick's family. I let Nick and his mother take me into the Baltimore Seaquarium aviary 3 Thanksgivings ago, and I was terrified. I thought I was going to get
they're
pooped
just
on.
Maryland birds.
They're it's just all Orioles. And they'll just spit. You have to watch them like spitting tobacco on you.
And ravens. Orioles and ravens.
It's true.
Just a bunch of black birds. That was terrible. That was terrible. Oh, there goes your chance at office. Orioles and ravens, they're black birds.
Oh, no. Well, moving right along. Actually, speaking of birds, you know who? What kind of creatures don't like birds? Cats.
Oh, no, don't do it. Please, God, no.
We have to. We absolutely have to. I know those of you out there have been burning and wanting to know what is our hot take on the latest Cats trailer. And I'll be honest, I didn't think there was a way it could look worse with another trailer, but they did it. And I love that, like, Tom Hooper, the director, came out this week going like, yeah, people were really rough on us after the first ad. And like the Sonic thing, we learned and we adjusted a lot of the CGI. And I'm like, was that before this new trailer? Because it doesn't look any better. And I also someone mirrored my thoughts in one of the talkbacks for the Cats thing. And this, I know, Nick, you disagree on this one a little bit, but for me, Cats is about the costumes and the dance. Like, that's the draw for people in the theater.
Well, it's certainly not for the fucking story.
No, and it's, yeah, I mean, the story,
because there is none.
And the music is fun, right? But ultimately, I'm there to watch the choreography and the costumes, and those are the two things that you lose.
The costumes, Matt.
Absolutely, the costumes. 100%.
The
dude.
outline of what's underneath.
Okay, you are right. I do like the penis outlines on the male tomcats in Cats, because I can then tell who's circumcised and who's not.
If Matt Shank can't tell if Rum Tum Tugger is circumcised, he's not interested.
I will put that quote on the poster for the new Cats movie. I will take total credit for it. I completely agree. No,
Let's take a peek and learn about it.
No, it looks even worse in the second trailer. And it is going to absolutely be the most fun thing to hate watch of the year. Like, there's no way and not even hate watch, just like get completely drunk and there's no way you're not going to laugh your ass off through Cats. It's impossible.
I think that's what we should do after we do the Star Wars podcast.
Yes.
After you're back, is we'll just drink a few more beers and then go see Cats.
Oh my God, I will absolutely do this.
Is there a chance that your expectations are so low that they're exceeded and it's a good movie?
100%. Absolutely 100%.
I've been thinking about that. I think you might be right, but I don't know.
Because Tom Hooper has a pretty good track record, and he also directed the pilot of like one of my favorite shows on right now. So
what show?
His Dark Materials.
Oh yeah. Man, those trailers are.
Yeah, they're awful. They're just absolutely god awful.
Everything is really, and I think the problem is that he's leaning into a lot of things he's not necessarily adept at.
Sure.
I think the musical numbers will probably mostly work, but man, that animation it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's a bad 80s movie. Like, I would expect this movie to be in the 80s. Like, even though the technology is better than that, it has that feel of like there's a disconnect. It's just I don't know. I'm really hoping you're right, Nick. I keep kind of having that feeling that maybe there's this 11th hour thing that he's going to pull something together, and this movie is, but I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. You know, when Aladdin came out and all you had was the music, they're terrible versions of music. I gotta say, growing up with that musical and loving the music, from what I've heard, it sounds punched up. It sounds good. The versions of these classic songs sound pretty good, and that's probably the only really encouraging thing at this point, without getting a chance to actually view it.
Yeah, no, I've watched Aladdin at this point, and I didn't have any. I still don't love some of the music choices, but what I think was most interesting about Aladdin is the parts of it that went off script, where they actually kind of branched out, work the best of anything in the movie. The stuff they do with how they make the genie a little bit more like a Hitch character for Will Smith and lean in his strengths is great. It makes perfect sense and it works. And I think let's see. We'll see. Well, listen, don't worry, everyone. Sometime in January, we'll come back with our actual review of Cats. And then you never have to hear about it again.
Sorry.
Well, don't make any promises. We're not gonna write any checks we can't cash here on the new way. Now, Matt, you're gonna save The Irishman for your folks when you go back.
Yes,
right?
I haven't watched that one yet. Have you, Ben?
Okay.
Have you watched The Irishman, Ben?
I have not watched The Irishman. I have not had 4 hours to spare.
Yeah. So, what did you think, Nick?
I'm not going to get into it. We'll circle back after you've gotten a chance to view it and love it, because there's no other logical way for this to work out. Because I don't think it deserves to be nominated in any category. And I'm reading, it's the best film of the past decade. Chicago stereotypes, right? Everybody, all of these highly respected publications are saying it's Scorsese at his best, and they're just fawning over it. And I do not think it deserves to be nominated in any category. And that's all I'll say for now.
I've heard a lot of people bitch about how long it is, for sure.
Absolutely, but that's the least of its problems. Trust me.
Well, and then I've heard the other problematic thing is Pacino is a strange choice for Hoffa.
I don't care about any of that stuff. It just it doesn't do anything new. It's so long. It's just another mob movie with a super fragile Italian guys who take out their inability to work out their emotions on some poor bastard who's late to a meeting or doesn't order the right gabagool. I'm sorry, I'm just not into it.
By the way, if this has not already been well established, Nick hates anything that's involved with a mob and has always hated mob movies. Has never, I believe. Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. You've never even seen The Godfather.
No, but I like Goodfellas a lot, and I really like Road to Perdition, and I like Untouchables in a not on the same.
Those are period
serious
pieces.
Right. Well, they're like the Goodfellas is more about coke, and Road to Perdition has Tom Hanks, so it's not your typical mob movies, and that's why I like them.
But am I correct?
Greatest boiling down of.
am I correct that you've never seen The Godfather or Godfather Part 2?
Well, now it's like I wish I had watched The Godfather. I wish I had just watched The Godfather instead of 4 hours. of The Irishman.
I'm in between on this. I
now I'm never going to see The Godfather.
Although I mean I like
The Godfather
Sopranos.
and The Godfather Part 2 are fucking masterpieces, but
yeah, I mean, and I liked The Sopranos. But yeah, I understand, Nick. I can see that there's a definite fatigue with the when you're watching these kind of black characters or gray characters or however you want to designate the mafia.
That's terrible.
Like,
look, Marty, you're gonna make fun of Spider-Man. You better fucking bring it. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think that it's like. You have to find some way to. It can't just be like you're rooting for them because they're in the movie. Like they're just, oh, these are the protagonists, so we have to be on their side. There's got to be something for it.
Who do you root for? Everyone's a piece of shit.
So, I mean, the thing is, are you gonna? I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm interested in seeing it. I'm sure I'm gonna watch it at some point. But I can't at this point. Besides all of the stuff that we've already talked about with Scorsese, I mean. I haven't seen Silence either, but Wolf of Wall Street, is fucking fantastic. So, and that's a relatively recent film.
Well, hopefully, you put the kids to bed, you start the film, and it's not morning by the time you're done, and they come in and ruin the ending.
I'm actually going to watch it over 4 shits, or maybe like 8 shits on my phone. As I like to watch Scorsese
shits.
Yes, I like to watch Scorsese
How
movies.
numb are your legs?
I gotta finish that movie. I'll watch it over a week. Every day of the week, I will watch part of The Irishman on the toilet on my phone until I'm done. As God says, you should watch Scorsese movies.
Nice.
as he wanted them to be watched.
Well, earlier we were talking about you were talking about the trailer of Cats, and I was trying to hard seg that into other trailers that we've watched recently.
Yeah, I heard you try to get into that. I was going to just keep barreling through it.
Speaking of no, you guys are just going to talk over me.
Well, actually, I do have
I'm sorry, Ben. You never take something I say and go off tangent.
Well, and I
was being ironical.
We're gonna lose Nick in a second here, probably. Anyway, but I wanted to ask you, Nick, real quick. Do you watch any of the DC TV shows, the Arrow and Flash and Supergirl?
Yes, not to completion.
Yeah, so because it's the only thing Nick doesn't watch is without completion.
Well, I mean, they've done all these fun crossovers. I'm like a few seasons before they even start to cross over.
So that's kind of what I want to, and I'm everything I know about this is from reading articles that kind of show up in my feed because it's similar to other things I have interest in. But they're doing this huge crossover event on all of the DC shows called Crisis of Infinite Earths, which is like a comic book storyline basically involving the Flash and time travel through all of these different Earths and different Supermans, different Flashes, different whatever. And I'm so
DC's multiverse.
Yes. And what's cool about their multiverse is because they've got this like kind of all of these differing types of Superman, all this stuff, they've done a really ingenious thing where they've recast people that have played these roles in other properties to show up in it. So, for example, you've got Tom Welling from Smallville is showing up as a Superman in this universe, and Brandon Routh showing up as an old Superman. You've got the guy that played the Flash in the 90s Flash TV show showing up as an older Flash. And I think that it's...
That's taking a page from the What We Do in the Shadows book.
Yeah, it is such a great concept, and it shows such a better understanding of what you can do with comics versus what they're doing in the film universe. And now I'm like, I want to get more into the TV one. It's just the seasons are so long, and I'm bummed because I think this sounds like an amazing like event, this crossover to have all of these different things. And I just wonder, why can't DC take a page from what they're doing on these shows and make it work in the theater? Because this is how you do it. They built it over. They did Marvel. Like it's crazy. Like I just don't understand it.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. There's not much more to say.
They don't have the same leadership.
Yeah.
It just comes down to it. You know, the TV and the film world have always been, kind of separate, and it's so funny. Even Marvel, it distanced themselves from Daredevil, which was a fantastic series.
Yeah,
distanced themselves from all the Netflix series, and some of them were better than others. But
we talked about that before. That was a kind of a forceful distancing, obviously. For very obvious reasons.
Yeah, and now that Disney's leaning so hard into these Star Wars series, which they're now debating about whether Mandalorian season 2 is going to be just a movie because everyone likes I think Disney's going to be the one to bridge it finally to say, you know what, it's all the fucking, and they tried it. They got close on HBO with Dark Tower, where they were going to go kind of back and forth between movies and TV. But I think Disney is the one that's going to seal that and just say it's all the same fucking thing. TV, movie, they all just interact. It's all just different properties. And yeah, here's Tom Hiddleston on a TV series, and maybe you'll see him in another movie, or maybe you won't. Like, we don't care.
Right. Just
buy our shit. Like, it's all money in the table. Why get so protective over it?
Right.
That's crazy. Okay, Ben, movie trailer.
No, well, first off, you had asked me right before, you'd asked all of us to watch the ET
yes.
Commercial for Xfinity. I believe Comcast is the one that did it.
Correct.
So why? I'm interested in why. Why were you asking?
Because I'm interested in that. I felt that
fucking loved it.
I loved it, or that you loved it?
You loved it.
Yeah, and I feel that you guys probably wouldn't have. That was my general thought, is that it would just be cold hard money grab and nostalgia just to pull at our heartstrings, and it's just a corporate, whatever. And I can feel like that at times, but there were a couple of moments in it, specifically with Henry Thomas, where it caught me. Like, I literally just, some of his interactions felt like the original movie enough so that I'm like, yeah, okay, so it's a fucking commercial. Everything we watch is a commercial. At the end of the day, almost everything that's out there has some sort of ad in it or something going on in it. But I loved it. Other than the kid explaining like the multiple, like the tablet and the thing, that part I'm like, okay, if you scrub that from it, I dig it. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I think I'm actually kind of in agreement with you. Overall, I hated it, but only after shedding a tear in the movie theater before Knives Out, and it was Henry Thomas. It was Henry Thomas' first laying eyes.
Yes,
on E.T.
yes,
he totally sells it, and I totally started to get verklempt, and then that quickly wore off to the most shameless money grab, just preying on my nostalgia, like everything has the past 5 years, to be fair. But this seemed just especially malicious. I don't know. I don't know, man. It really rubbed me the wrong way. That being said, it was very well done.
Yeah. It was a really well done ad, but it's an ad at the end of the day.
Fuck them. Masterful art, but fuck them.
Ben?
Pass. No, I thought it was. I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I thought it was cute. It's a good idea for them to do. I'm sure, and I saw it shared a bunch, so I know a lot of people watched it. So good on them for. Well, I fuck Comcast. Never mind. Not good on them, but good on the creatives for making that decision to actually pay for the money to actually do it and do it relatively well and with some reverence. But yeah, it's still an ad. I don't care.
Yeah, and I was really impressed also because I assumed that like there was a legit director attached. And it wasn't really. It was the whole thing was the ad agency. It wasn't like they
Sure.
Spielberg was involved to an extent basically to give them permission. They don't technically need permission since it's Universal owned and Universal owns Comcast. But
some of the stuff is shot for shot.
yeah, there were some moments in it that were just. But yeah, I think if Henry Thomas hadn't sold that open bit, I would be railing against that thing right now. But as soon as he popped out there, I was like, God, it right in the fucking heart. So I'm in agreement with you, Nick. I still just wound up falling for it.
So, as far as new pop culture, first off, before we talk about the trailers that we did watch this week we'll see the first showing of the new Ghostbusters trailer. Anybody interested in that? And it will be a full trailer, 2 minutes and 38 seconds long.
Wow. What do you think, Ben? What are your thoughts?
There aren't going to be any chick Ghostbusters, are there?
They're all kids. It's child Ghostbusters.
Yes, it's Finn Wolfhard cloned 3 times.
No, it's
all playing.
It's a baby Venkman and it's a baby Egon. We're playing on the baby Yoda age right now. We're just doing Ghostbuster babies. And Janine you're just going to see her from the kneecap down as she takes care of all of them in the playpen.
So here, as somebody who's obviously
like Muppet Babies?
Yes, the Ghostbuster babies.
Somebody who's obviously one of the biggest Ghostbusters fans in the world. Here's what I will say. What I'm worried about, once I found out, I was very excited when I found out that all the original cast were involved. Now, what I'm concerned about is the capacity in which they are involved. Because I do feel like this should not be their movie. And that while they deserve more than a cameo, like the 16 version did, and while I think that they need to be reverent to the characters that they played in the original one, I think it needs to be somebody else's movie. So my concern would be that
somebody else's cis white men again. Sorry,
what?
I'm just joking.
No,
somebody else's movie. Paul Feig tried that and it failed.
Well, no. What I mean is this is in the same universe of the first 2 movies. So obviously, what I'm saying is that I don't want this to be a movie surrounding the characters, and I don't think it is. It didn't sound like it was from the get-go. But I don't want it to surround Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver and Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson. I don't want it to involve. I want it to involve them. I would be happy. I would literally be happy if I didn't see them in the trailer.
Yeah.
I want this to be a brand new story, and I want that's what I want.
With the Ghostbusters universes, though, Dan Aykroyd was in the Paul Feig 2016
all of them
Ghostbusters.
All of them were.
They all were.
Right, so that never happened?
That didn't happen.
No, this doesn't exist. That's a completely different universe.
Evil Dead situation?
No.
It's
it's
more like a new Terminator situation where they completely forgot everything after Terminator 2 and they just went back and did it, redid it.
Or Halloween. Like Halloween's probably the same
Exactly.
thing. Yeah, they choose which sequels they allow, and then the other ones don't exist.
We're going back and we're doing a direct sequel of this movie, basically.
Now the byline, the subtitle of this movie is Afterlife. What do you think that means for us?
Is that the third script that never got the light of day where they go to hell?
That was actually called Ghostbusters Go to Hell.
No, it's called Ghostbusters Go to Hell.
Oh man, I want to see that movie so bad.
Apparently that script was fucking bananas.
But see, that's the always thing that's like kind of the genius of what of how the original Ghostbusters worked is the problem is Dan Aykroyd is a maniac when it comes to writing.
Well, so
he's insane.
One of the things
his family business were literally Ghostbusters.
Yeah, yes.
They're like super into the occult, and it was how he was raised.
One thing that's and this is kind of a weird seg as well. But one thing that Beth and I started watching was there's a show on Netflix called Movies That Made Us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched that. I watched it last night.
Did you watch all of the episodes?
Yeah, I watched Die Hard. I watched Dirty Dancing and Ghostbusters.
Okay, so I haven't watched the Ghostbusters episode yet just because I already know too much about Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to watch it. But the Dirty Dancing one was fucking phenomenal. Like
I agree.
I had
that is the strongest one of the bunch.
It's the
for
strongest
sure.
one of the other three that I've watched, and I was just
For
like,
sure.
I was like,
I gotta watch this.
Wow, so this is
For sure.
It's basically like it's like a behind the music, but it's for a specific movie, talking like a movie that's obviously had a big impact on us culturally, and it's about all of the behind the scenes stuff of what was happening
love
when
that
it got
shit.
made. But the Home Alone episode is interesting. But the thing is Home Alone did not have nearly like once it actually was being made, there was nothing kind of like tumultuous that happened throughout the production. But I never knew that like when they're talking about Dirty Dancing, that apparently after Red Dawn, Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey hated each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated each other.
That I knew.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. And I was just, so I'm watching I'm watching these screen tests and he's like, just do it, bitch, and stuff like that. And he's like talking. I was just like, holy shit.
Is it the
He
famous
said,
thing?
bitch.
Yes.
The thing
you don't
when
remember the
he's-
part where he was just like, just do the scene, bitch. Like during a screen test.
Well, that was like
Holy
they
shit.
wrote the gag
I
into the
missed that
movie
part.
because it kept happening where he's running his hand down her and she's laughing and
No,
that incensed him.
They go through that whole
Yeah.
sequence and they talk about how that was the director's thing, is because he just kept running it and running the camera, and it ended up being the best moment in the movie. Or one of
It
the best-
looked like a Joe Biden political rally.
Oh, it's a shame that Swayze's dead. He would have made a great Biden in a biopic, actually.
Oh, God.
Well, he's got these hairy legs, and Jennifer Grey would rub her hands down his hairy legs in the pool,
Oh my
hop
god!
on his lap.
Stop! Stop, please.
On that note, I'm going to leave you, gentlemen.
All right, Nick. Thanks a lot for joining us, man.
Kisses.
All
Kisses.
right, bye. And then there were two.
Then it was just down to us. I feel like we're alone now. It's just now we can just be ourselves. Just like let our hair down.
Well, there doesn't seem to be anyone around.
That's right. So, all right. So, speaking of trailers, what other trailers did you just watch?
Well, I just watched, and I mean by just right before we got on the air, the new Bond trailer. Was it No Time to Die?
No Time to Die, Dr. Jones.
Well, that looks fucking sweet.
I'm still hurting a little bit from Spectre, and I Spectre. I barely know her. Ben and I saw Spectre in Athens, Georgia.
Which was otherwise a great weekend.
It was a phenomenal weekend, but it's just a terrible failure of a movie.
We had such a great plan for that weekend. We were like, we're going to do this work thing, and then we're going to go into Athens, and we're going to go out and get a good dinner, and we're going to get an Uber, and we're going to go see this, and we're going to go downtown, and then we're going to see a game the next day. And then like Spectre almost ruined our weekend.
it was like such
After Skyfall, which was
and I think that's part of the problem is the Skyfall is so good that you get to Spectre and it almost had no chance. And this, I'm hoping we get back up to Skyfall. My only concern with the trailer so far is, and this isn't necessarily a spoiler and I don't know why they do this, but it very much looks like Rami Malek's character is going to be Dr. No. There's a lot of sort of nods when he talks about the long after the body stops working, he's wearing the gloves, he's wearing kind of the Dr. No jacket. And I'm like, we did this in Spectre with Blofeld, where it was this needless mystery.
And Blofeld's also in the trailer.
Yes, and Blofeld's back, which I'm thinking is going to tie into the whole Spectre thing, and Dr. No is part of Spectre. And I don't mind them introducing Dr. No. I mind that he's playing some character called something else, and then there's going to be some reason to tie in
to make him Dr. No.
This reveal. And it's like, did they not learn this shit with Khan after the Star Trek Into Darkness? Like, it's unnecessary. No one is waiting for this big reveal. You're never gonna keep it under wraps. It's impossible. And it's like, it's just built in for drama and tension that especially with somebody like Mendes, you don't need it.
I would hope that Fukunaga and all of the writers, the like 1,900 of them
Yeah.
on this movie, were smarter than to do that again.
I'm really hoping so.
And so I maybe that they're setting it up to make it look like that, and that it's not.
Well,
It's just something
I guess. I mean,
completely-
the other thing is then also I'm looking at the title. I'm like, it's like No Time to Die. And
Yes,
like, oh,
of
okay,
course.
it's fucking Doctor No.
Yeah, it's Doctor No.
Like it's gonna be Doctor No. it's just it's whatever. And I guess it's fine. It could be his nickname is Dr. No or whatever. It's a little bit at least more believable than how the Blofeld thing played itself out. But otherwise, I love Rami Malek. I like the accent he's using, and it sounds interesting. I like the idea of Blofeld in there, like Hannibal Lecter.
That one, and it's one quick shot because obviously there's lots of violence and cool
motorcycle?
stunts, but the motorcycle up the stairs
Yeah.
and then over the side. There's one shot where it's totally practical, and you can tell it's practical, and it's just
It's
fucking
a
phenomenal.
phenomenally good looking stunt. It's really good. Just I
Which
heard
it's hard. It's hard nowadays to show a stunt in a trailer and make it look like effective. Like whoa,
Yeah.
Like I mean, like for example, back in 1964 when they did the Great Escape jump, like in the trailer for the Great Escape, everyone was just like, "Whoa, gotta go see this movie! There's a giant motorcycle jump," And nowadays it's just like, "Oh, well, there's a tank going through the street." Dragging 19 cars and they're
Big
blowing up
deal.
buildings. Big deal. But no, it's the way it's filmed. Now it involves the choreography and the camera work as much as it involves the stunt and really just effectively conveying what's happening. And it looks sweet.
Yeah, that stunt is great, and it is such a Bond stunt too,
Of
which
course,
is like
yeah.
which is great. It's
It's a motorcycle going up like a double flight of stairs very quickly and then jumping
and
over-
jumping a ledge.
and jumping a ledge. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's pretty odd. Yeah, I there's a lot to like in it. There's like 17 like gorgeous women in it who all can act as well. So I always dig that kind of shit in the Bond movies. Yeah. And of course, Jeffrey Wright as Felix is one of my favorite parts of the new Bond movies in general. Him and Ray Fiennes as the new M. I'll watch them kind of go through anything on there. So
Yeah. I think it looks. I think it looks pretty good.
I'm hopeful. And just to go back to
I have one other quick trailer.
Yeah.
Did you see the trailer for Wendy?
Wendy or Wendy?
Wendy.
I don't think so.
So the director who did oh man, it just escaped my head. Beasts.
Beasts of Southern Wild.
Beasts of Southern Wild. Yes, did an adaptation of Peter Pan told from the perspective of Wendy that looks like Beasts of the Southern Wild mixed with Peter Pan. And you know what? It really worked for me.
Really?
And so if you have not seen the trailer, I really suggest anybody who's listening go watch the trailer for Wendy. It's very interesting looking. And it looks like more where they're really trying to get to the emotional heart of what would it mean to stay young forever? What would it mean to feel like you're young forever versus those who have old souls, old souls versus new souls, basically that type of thing. It's a very interesting sort of paradigm, and they're definitely dealing with the repercussions of that emotionally more than any other iteration of Peter Pan I've ever seen. And it looks great, and I think that's one of my new most anticipated for next year.
That's actually that's super interesting. That's always only one of the movies have truly gotten that part of the story right, which is always the most uncomfortable and hardest part of the original Peter Pan book. And it's the adaptation they did in 2003 with Jason Isaacs as
Which I love. I
which is
love that
phenomenally
version.
good. But it's P.J. Hogan directed that, I think
Right.
is the director. But what I love is the only one that tackles the aftermath accurately, where with him coming back and she's an old woman, and it's just like that. It's such a sad and poignant ending of her growing up and him still being this youthful thing. She's like, I can't go with you anymore.
Right.
Like it's so sad. But that's totally on my radar now for this one. I'll check out that trailer.
Yeah, so what were you gonna talk about?
I was just gonna say it's kind of interesting talking about these secret, like saying that they can't keep a secret with something like Bond, and just want to. I'm sure everyone at this point has heard or read the story, but I am still just floored by what Favreau did with The Mandalorian and Disney Plus of how they kept the wraps on Baby Yoda. And listen, Disney is so rich that everyone kind of, I think their assumption when I probably say what I'm about to say is like big fucking deal. But Favreau had enough power with Disney to say, hey, I don't want you to release Baby Yodas in time for Christmas and make a mint on the hottest toy of the season because I want it to be a surprise in my TV show. And Disney legit said, okay, no problem. And I thought maybe they were fucking around a little bit, but no, they're not. We're not going to see any toy merchandise. You'll see some t-shirts and mugs and shit like that, but we're not seeing any official Disney toy merchandise for Baby Yoda until the spring, because that's how long it takes to you build your prototypes, you get into your factories, you've got to go through testing and quality control. Favreau's like a fucking god at Disney to be able to be like, no, because they knew what they have. I mean, how do they not know what they have in their hands looking at that? But I think that's one of the most impressive uses of clout I've seen in years. And it earns, maybe for Ben, it'll earn you some points back for Favreau after Lion King. But
listen, first off, I want to be clear on this. I have nothing but love for Jon Favreau. I hate The Lion King with a fiery passion, but the guy has earned nothing but goodwill from me for his entire career, both as an actor, as a writer, and as a director. So, like I said, I'm very critical of. There are tons of my favorite directors that I will say. I will always say a Hollywood Ending is, which is a Woody Allen film, and I'm a huge Woody Allen fan, is literally probably in the top 5 worst movies I've ever seen in the theater. I almost walked out, and I've only walked out of 2 movies, I believe. But so I'm not like, no director and no creative is beyond reproach for me. It's
Sure.
not. I'm not going to just universally love anything that anybody makes. Same as I'm not going to universally loathe anybody I don't like.
except for Brett Ratner.
That's a sticky.
Yeah. Don't say sticky. Don't say that.
That's a shrimpy. I mean,
if you, by the way, if you all don't know the story of Brett Ratner and shrimp, just Google Brett Ratner shrimp. Olivia Munn.
I'm sure if you just do Brett,
off.
you don't even have to put Olivia Munn in there. I think just Brett Ratner shrimp will do just fine.
I hear you. I was just giving you a hard time. Yeah, I thought that was such an amazing, like, to get through to the bean counters at a company like Disney. Sure. And like hit them where it hurts is. I mean, listen, in the spring they're going to sell fucking a million of these things anyway, and. Of course. And if
you saw that the Funko Pop was announced like yesterday,
so the only 2 toys have been actually they've had enough time to make a model and put it out, Funko, and they have another plush, but those ones are still not out till spring.
No, but
those are the first 2.
But the pre-orders are available.
I already pre-ordered my plush.
But believe it, I was like, if I could have just bought you the Funko right now, I was just like,
I didn't even order the Funko. I got the plush.
Well, I was gonna say I would have walked in and like 19 of our friends would have ordered you all the Funko. You just had 19 Baby Yodas on your desk.
I did. I literally already have Baby Yoda shirts. I wore one on Wednesday night last week when I went out, and it blew people's minds.
That's pretty funny.
It is pretty. Listen. This is what I do.
This is what you do.
This is what I do. This is my thing. Also in Star Wars news, the brand new ride just opened at Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance. It's like a 25-minute experience.
I've heard it's cool.
I've watched all the shit on it now that they're actually in there. But it's just cool. What they've done with it is they've made basically you kind of have a walkthrough portion, then you have like a middle ride portion that's not really a ride, kind of almost to the extent of like a really high end version of the elevator in Haunted Mansion. Right, you have like a transitionary thing, and then you have a giant. So
it's the same as Avatar or Harry Potter, almost.
Except a little more involved, because then you have a massive set piece, and I mean like a massive, the biggest thing I've ever seen on a ride in my entire life. And I've watched all of the reporters and ones go through like one by one, and everyone's just like, you just hear people like, holy shit, like, and this one girl, this one chick in this thing, uncontrollably starts like crying. And you've got all of these Disney guys that are in like they're playing the First Order. They all these British accents. They're very mean. They're like, all right, get off the transporter. And she's just like like blubbering, and they're like, madam, please, madam, like pushing her through. It's insane. Like they've gone crazy with it. It's kind of amazing.
Nice.
But we'll see what the weights are like on it. I mean, I went up and rode the Millennium Falcon ride with almost like 30-minute wait, maybe tops. So maybe we'll get lucky with it, but it looks pretty fucking awesome.
Nice.
Random one for you, Ben. Have you seen the preview for the Grudge reboot movie?
I have unnecessary.
Yeah. Here's my. This is my main question. We've talked about reboots and remakes and stuff, but they literally have the exact same shot of it. Now it's John Cho. I do like that at least they've changed it up to be a man in the shower, washing his hair, and then the hand comes out of the back of the head.
Yeah.
And that is a shot from the original Japanese version.
And also the Sarah
and
Michelle
then the
Gellar.
American remake of the Japanese one, and now the American remake of the American. Like, who's asking for that? Like, who wants? Are there people that want this? It must be, right?
I don't know.
Like, I couldn't. I'm like, okay, I understand maybe making a new story in that universe, but to reuse the same shot, it just is so strange to me. Like it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Well, so the interesting thing is John Cho was just in an independent film, the one where he's trying to find his daughter.
Yeah.
Which is like a social media driven movie, which took a lot of the stuff that like Unfriended and a few of these other movies did. I haven't seen it yet, but did it apparently very well and was like extremely well received, kind of thriller horror, kind of hybrid movie. So I was thinking, I'm thinking that the studio is just like, well, we can pay John Cho a lot of money because he can do this well.
It's so weird how the studio.
I have it just doesn't make any sense.
It's so
to
weird
me.
what lessons
But John
they
Cho
learn.
gotta eat. So
No, listen, I have no problem with any actor taking a movie they have to do. And I like you just do it. Like,
sure.
That's how it works. But yeah, it's like I just don't understand these shots because
the decision to remake that movie again is egregiously bad.
And it's funny because I know a lot of times probably those of you listening out there might think that we are overly critical of some of these things, but there are also, like we were talking about in the last episode about kind of reheated plots and reused tropes and stuff. There are movies that ape other movies, but they do it in a way that is new and fresh and interesting. Like, my cousin's husband had brought this up online the other day, and it's a movie that it's a completely aping another movie, but it does it so well that it doesn't matter. It's Happy Death Day. Which I don't know if you ever watched that one.
I watched
or not.
the first one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second. He said the second one is just as good. In fact, it actually opens up a couple of new interesting things from the first one. But yeah, the first one is Groundhog Day, or any movie where you've got this repeating itself to the point that they actually reference it,
right
in the movie. But you can get away with those things. You just don't do the same exact tight. Like, you've got to have a fresh spin on it or something on it. And I don't know, the grunge thing for some reason just really like pissed me off.
Did you say the Grudge or the Grunge?
I did say the grunge by accident, but
now you know what was crawling out of John Cho's head. It was Kurt Cobain.
the grunge is what pisses Luke Stevens off, and that's his horror movie is the grunge.
It's just all of the dead grunge. It's Chris Cornell and Kurt Cobain are haunting your house. What's his face from?
It's got a great soundtrack, but it's a terrible movie. And speaking of movies that no one asked for or wants to see, Avatar 2 just wrapped, and one of its 130 or whatever sequels this is. And I was asking someone else about this the other day. I was asking Brian and Adriana. And I go, what do you think? I go, are you guys interested in another Avatar movie? And they're like, it's fine. And Adrian said, I think like Brian's uncles really likes like the Avatar movies, and that's like their Star Wars.
Beth's mom really likes the Avatar.
Well, my thing was, I started just asking people around the table, like, can you name a character from Avatar? And Adriana's like, Sigourney Weaver. And I go, that's not a character. What character does Sigourney Weaver play? And she's like, Zoe Saldana. I'm like, nope, that's another character. That's another
Giovanni
actress.
Ribisi.
And I literally realized nobody could name. I was the only one, and I only know it because the Hoot says it all the time. Is Jake Sully is the main
Isn't his
guy.
name like Katala or something?
Oh, I don't know what his Avatarian name is, but
okay.
yeah, I'm like people. It's been long enough. I guarantee I could probably ask 500 people, and maybe 5% could name a character from Avatar.
What's the name of the race of people? The Naboo.
The Navi.
Navi.
Yeah,
that's
that
right,
I know.
so-
That I could answer, but I can't tell you Zoe Saldana's character's name. Who's the best character in the movie? And I can't even remember her name. And I think Giovanni Ribisi's character is related to the character that Paul Reiser plays in Aliens. I think they have the same last name, maybe, but I don't even remember that. I don't know. But I'm like, yeah, who wants these movies? How do these get like so much money? And why can't James Cameron go back to make a good movie? Like that frustrates me too.
Make True Lies.
Yeah, True Lies 2. I'll watch that
I'm
when
just
they're
making a different True Lie, like a different movie like that. It's an original concept. Just do an original
something.
script.
Yeah, just something that's not Avatar. I like James Cameron movies. I would like to see another one that's just not.
I'm with you.
I think it's like Zemeckis. So like he got lost in the CGI like mocap world too.
And then when he went back to live action,
forgot how to work with actors.
it was like he lost something.
Yeah.
in that interim.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, and like, it's so weird because I think that's what it. I mean,
That being said, I did like Flight. I thought Flight was kind of good.
Flight's working with a lot of really good actors.
A lot of good actors that are carrying a lot of the heavy weight. There.
We're gonna roll it.
Yeah.
We're gonna roll it. I wonder if it's just that these directors get like, especially Cameron. It's just like everything is blue screen. I can control everything. Like there's nothing that's out of my control now. I don't have to deal with anything I can't fix or change or whatever. And it's just like a power trip.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, maybe.
Or it just doesn't like
knows?
working with the actors as much. It's like I'll fix their performance in post.
I mean,
I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, could be that too. But anyways,
All right, final thing for our final 5 minutes, and I have a feeling you'll have an opinion on this. This is not a new trend, but it seems to be happening more and more. A movie that has some steam behind it, or maybe has a large budget behind it, comes out. It lands with a thud, regardless maybe of reviews or kind of feedback, and then the director comes out a week later, either blaming the audience or blaming something else, or there's this whole like discussion of why the movie didn't work that happens very quickly as this like spin control. And the two that it recently just happened on, one was Charlie's Angels with Elizabeth Banks, who basically after the movie opened, she said was because men don't want to watch action scenes with women. And I'm like, why? Like, I hate when that card is played on just what's probably not a great movie, or maybe it was a fine. I haven't seen that movie, but I know that there are action movies with women that do get audiences and they don't mind. But the other was the new Terminator movie, which also kind of bummed me out because everything I read about it from kind of the critical side was that it's a pretty well done movie. It just didn't land. So do you think you would be like, let's say you make a movie and it kind of thuds. Do you think you would be out there pounding the pavement, talking about why it failed or why you think it failed? Or
so an interesting thing happened last week is Josh Trank did a review of his own movie Fantastic or Fantastic Four. And it was kind of interesting because he was basically kind of putting himself into the shoes of somebody else, obviously in sort of a very light-hearted way, of being like, there might be a good movie in there somewhere. Like, it's there. The actors are all good. There's just weird transitions and stuff doesn't make sense and stuff like that. And I found it kind of a very interesting but short read because I thought it was enlightening for somebody who has just gotten universally maligned because of the performance of that movie, and albeit with a ton of studio interference, and apparently there were he had nervous breakdowns on the set and all sorts of stuff like that. But
on his second movie,
yeah, after an unexpected success with his first movie, I would say. I just think that with the speed that media moves nowadays, it just has sped up that process of people, and that's what I liked about the Josh Trank thing is it happened 4 years after Fantastic Four came out, and so it allowed for enough time for a little bit of reflection, whereas now people are looking for an answer immediately. Like if something doesn't perform or if something isn't finding its audience, I feel like people are expecting that answer immediately. And that answer is never good. It's never going to be adequate. It's never going to be honest. It takes time for reflection after a movie has actually, come out. You have to distance yourself from that property, especially as a director, as a producer. You have to distance yourself from that before you can, actually look at it honestly, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so that would be my take on it, is that I feel like everyone's expected to say something right after a movie doesn't do well now. And 95% of the time, that's going to be a dishonest or at least disingenuous take.
Yeah, but they're still too close. I think you hit it right on. Once you have distance from it, you can be a little bit more objective. But right after, no, you've spent a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever you have with this thing.
And to be fair, Charlie's Angels wasn't super poorly reviewed. It wasn't completely maligned.
But it bombed at the office.
But it did a terrible job. But I also feel like that was a movie that was completely mismarketed.
Yeah, and it came out at a weird fucking time. It's just it bums me out because I like Elizabeth Banks, and from when I saw the movie, it looked fine. I didn't see anything.
Sure it might have been super entertaining.
But yeah, I hate that they either they feel they have to, whatever. But I hate that she comes out immediately, and it's it polarizes everyone with the it's because men aren't ready. I go, yes, part of that is correct. It's probably not the reason
it's
that
not
your
the
movie.
driving reason.
Yeah, it's not the main thing that happened here, and it's not a good linchpin to hang it on.
And that's the unfortunate thing about sort of the knee-jerk reaction society that we live in nowadays. I mean, nowadays, really good movies can get a bad rap because of some sort of initial sort of weird response. And and you can take that, you can apply that to many things, like Solo, for example. I feel like Solo is a movie that could have totally succeeded had it been marketed slightly differently and had it not been so heavily publicized that the movie was a train wreck leading up to
even
its
that,
release.
and also just it came out too close to
Jedi.
Yep, and people are still so pissed off about Jedi that, of course, and I love it because he's just trolling people, and he's trolling people also when he's got the number one movie out right now, which we're about to go see. This will be how we end our podcast, but of course, Rian Johnson's I love The Mandalorian. I'd love to direct an episode next season, and immediately the fan base is just no, keep him away from our Star Wars, blah blah blah. I'm you guys all fucking love his episodes of Breaking Bad. You've liked everything else he's done. You disliked one fucking thing he did. And guess what? Mandalorian's different than
and you disliked it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, even other ones are keep him away, bring back Lucas. I'm whoa, 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 whoa. We want to talk about who fucked up Star Wars more than anyone else. George Lucas is not your savior. That's not helping you with your argument. But we'll talk about that more when we get into our Star Wars talk at the end of the month. But we're gonna leave you with this nice tight podcast tonight. Toit, like a toiga. Well, thank you so much for listening to The New Wave. We'll be back with a couple more episodes before the new year, and then we'll be out for a couple of weeks. But we thank you for listening, and we will talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.